I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it. I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche. Be pleased to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Wake up, everyone. Time to wake up. Can you hear the wake-up gong? Wake up. Shifting into high gear. Hello, everyone. I see people in the chat. Sounds like an interesting show. I haven't even looked. I've been doing Patreon how-tos, vids, content, whatever you want to say. I've been diving deep. Those of you that are in my Patreon, we got a lot going on. A lot of new stuff coming in. And, a lot of stuff coming in. So I'm moving my blog there, too, because I can't get into my blog. So it just seems like a lot of people that are in Patreon are very dedicated. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from the Patreon community email. And so I feel people are ready for next level stuff. So gonna do it. Hello, everyone. I just kind of dived into that because I saw people in the chat, and I'm a little late. Whoops, there we go. There's my reminder. I am in a multitasking day. Let me just tell you that. I am in a multitasking day. But it's going great. I'm really enjoying my day. I hope everyone is as well. Hope you guys are. You're enjoying your day. So let's get to it, shall we? Now, call-in number 347-539-5122. Press 1 on the keypad. Now, if you don't press 1, then I don't. Hi, Teresa. I just saw her, and then she's out. Okay. Well, anyway. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. I'm getting excited, too, because we're getting closer to being able to extend Awakenings to YouTube. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube, and also my Soul Insights and Tarot on YouTube, and get the notifications. Really just helps to even get seen on the algorithm. And so we're doing it, gang. We're branching out. Everybody's going to have a little role to play too, if you want to, with getting out there and doing your thing, your soul thing. Again, 347-539-5122 is the number. If you want to listen by phone, that's great. But if you have a question, a comment, you want to say hi, or you want a reading, you have to press 1 on the keypad. I do have, now, a lot of people that did the workshop, what was it, last week? 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. We did the healing light session with sound and light. Yeah, healing light session with light and sound. We're doing another version with emphasis on the chakra system, still through the subtle energy and dimensional healing, dimensional soul source healing. You can find out more information if you're interested by going to soulplayground.life. I think it's courses and classes, or events and classes, or events and courses. I'll also be doing an email So if you're interested in finding out, you can go to info@soulplayground.life or just email me there, info@soulplayground.life, and say I'm interested or put me on the list. I already had 3 planned, but I'm glad that quite a few people asked, when are you going to do another one? I want to do another one. But the guides gave me 3 sessions, one with the key code, finishing off one bulk of key codes. And I found some people are still using their key codes consciously, so that's kind of good to know. Let's see what else. Come follow me on Instagram. I think that's it. That's it for the housekeeping. Anything Awakenings, guest suggestions, topic suggestions, you can always email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. Also want to thank some people, actually new subscribers on YouTube that, let me see if I get your name, that because I asked for other readings. So Azure, DNA Wellness, thank you very much. I am going to be doing those readings that you requested, tuning in to God, and which we do anyway. It's all God, and galactic messages, and with the Ascended Masters. And since I do work with Ascended Masters, and I have worked with the Galactic Federation through Ashtar Command, I had in quite a while ago, but I'm going to tap back in when I was in England and then in Chicago. Did some work with that group of beings, and I'll dive in because Ashtar Command. It's actually a group, soul over soul. It's a group of energies, beings, channeled through one source. So it's very interesting energy, and I'll be definitely. In the Soul Path Metaphysics and Spiritualism Salon on Patreon, definitely sharing more on that. But I will be doing a reading. So I just want to thank, because a lot of people are starting to listen to the podcast from YouTube, and those of you that are from Awakenings hear this podcast and now subscribed to my YouTube channel. I just want to say thank you, and also thank you not just for subscribing and getting the notifications and being encouraging and supportive, but those of you that have also, some of you have given me nice donations, which is very sweet of you and very helpful for all the extracurricular work that I do, or work purpose, but also for suggesting the readings, what kind. I love that. So anytime, you guys, I don't care whether it's on this podcast or for YouTube or Instagram, hey, would you post about this, or would you talk about this, or would you do a live on this? I'm totally down for that, totally open and receptive to it, and do appreciate that kind of input, encouragement, participation, but also inspiration. Ashtar came in for you when I was doing my spiritual journey in the Black Hills. Interesting, Sue. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say, I'll tell a little story, and then we'll get to callers. Again, 347-539-5122. I had no clue who Ashtar was, or Ashtar Command, and on the ship, right? And I think I'm very grateful. I'm extremely grateful that a lot of my experience had happened before I read books, or even before there was the internet, or a lot of this was on the internet, because in the early internet or interwebs, this kind of information wasn't out there. Those of you that remember AOL chat rooms and this and that, what was out there was mostly business stuff, gaming, chat rooms, websites really didn't start taking off till late 90s and early 2000s. I think I was one of the early adapter to the interwebs. I think my first website was 1999. But what happened was I was doing some deep work, traveling, astral travels, deep healing work, and all of a sudden this energies, I was ascending and very much extended out of my denser physical body, and I was in the center of these beings, and it just felt like I was being what's the word? Just like subsumed by the energy, right? And my guide, the person that was helping me, Jane Chilks, I was like, what's going on? And I was getting pulled in. I was getting literally pulled out of my body. But the thing is, it just startled me, but I wasn't scared. It startled me. And I remember Jane saying, you don't have to go. Don't go. Don't go. And I'm like, and in my blunt way, my Mercury in Leo, you'll appreciate this, Divine Mystic in the chat as an astrologer, my Mercury in Leo, my Mercury conjunct Uranus conjunct my Mercury, right? Pluto conjunct my Sun. I'm like, who the hell are you? Because it was so off-putting, and it came through. Ashtar. I'm Ashtar Command. So we did some inner work and connecting with them or that group being. And then this was one of the first times that I was in living in Europe. And when I came back, there was some book out. Maybe you know what it is, Sue. And Ashtar Command, it was a big thing in the States. Ashtar. Everybody was Ashtar Command. And they're like, oh, is this and I like, had I not had this, I would have just thought it was another thing people get hooked on, because a lot of times people do get hooked on stuff or they tell stories, in this world, in this kind of field. But Sue, what is Sue saying in the chat now? Mercury conjunct, right? But with the Mercury conjunct Uranus, sometimes things just pop out. It's really hard. I never know what's going to pop out. You either. Oh, interesting, Sue. Interesting. Yeah, one time, I can't believe this, and I was in like Flint. I was a friend of mine. Her neighbor was part of this Long Beach Grand Prix, and I'll never forget. They'd met me, they liked me, they wanted me on this, whatever it is, whatever they do. The girls for the Grand Prix walk around, go to parties, whatever you do. But I was young, so I thought, this will be fun. But I was also metaphysical and spiritual still. I was having visions. I was psychic. My stuff. But so what do? I cannot believe it. I was coached on exactly what to say. Everything. Of course, it really wasn't my world. I mean, yes, I've been to all kinds of things. I've been to motocross. I've been to Grand Prix. I've been to boat races, sailing. I like everything. I like to try things, but I'm not one to go on a regular basis to the track and zoom. The cars are going round and round. Or horses. I've been to horse racing and all that. But again, it's not really my thing. And actually, the horse racing, which was funny, I kept psychically picking numbers or which horse was going to win and telling them to my friends, their parents, we were with some parents, and they were winning. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to bet on. Problem is an empath, I just don't like being around that because I know horses like doing things for humans. They love being helpful. I just didn't get the vibe that they liked the racing. I don't know what all goes on with that. But, so that was that. So as an empath. But anyway, what happened with the Grand Prix thing was I've been coached, rehearsed. I knew what to say. So I was. Put it this way: I was in as one of the Grand Prix girls or whatever they called them, with a queen crown, whatever you call it. But when I got there, I guess in my nerves, my truth came out. They asked, "Who do I most admire?" I think I said God or Jesus. I can't even believe it. Two people, and who else? And then my grandfather, Enrique Torres, which I did admire. I couldn't believe it. And my friends and the neighbor, I choked basically. And so my spirituality came out. That's what happens with me when I get stressed or something happens. That's what comes out. Even when I used to party, be at clubs and whatever, what comes out when I'm tipsy, it would be spiritual. Let's meditate, or proselytizing, getting on my soapbox, channeling comes through. So, yeah, you never know. I guess that's with the Uranus in Leo, it's hard to lie. Stuff just tumbles out, fortunately or unfortunately. Let's see, Sue is saying, I could tap into this energy in a higher level. I don't know if it activated my Kundalini, but my body was on full dose vibrations. Well, probably. I mean, Kundalini is just that creative, that life force energy, the coil. The galactic, Ashtar is part of the galactic center, galactic command, I guess you would call it, the Galactic Federation. Definitely an aspect of Ascended Masters. But I am feeling, it's so interesting that YouTube subscriber, Azure DNA Wellness, thank you again, tapped into actually some of the energies I've been wanting to bring. Well, I work with them on my own, but have been wanting to bring through again, or been guided to bring through again for people, And one example is these healing session workshops that I'm doing with Grace O. We both are activators or transmitters, do transmissions. But it's just interesting that the guides came, every now and then they come through with certain sessions, healing, focuses, approaches, workshops, whatever you want to call it, for myself to do. They put me through it. And then for the people that I'm working with or that are drawn, that have a resonance to do the deeper inner work with me. And it usually has to do with next steps of what's coming up. It's a preparation for because that's what I came here to do, basically. And those of you that have known me for so long, I've been doing this for so long, can see the progression of what you've been prepared for and what you've been doing individually, personally, but also in your own life path and your career. A lot of people I work with see now how they have the tools of what to do and how to channel these higher vibrational frequency energies in whatever they're doing. It doesn't matter if they're a secretary, a CEO, receptionist, a whatever, a politician, a teacher, an accountant. It doesn't matter. But you have to understand that. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to jump to callers, but it's not always, the people with the highest level of consciousness are not always the one with the bestseller books, well-known, on TV, huge YouTube subscribers, having their own podcast. Consciousness is really a behind-the-scenes thing. It's an inside job. And it's understanding what one is doing to tap into that higher level of consciousness and awareness and light, and to be able to use it, to wield it for the good of themselves and, all of, humanity, or whatever, and also in individual situations. It also requires constant work, but you love it. You love what you do, and you have the tools, so you just know, I'm processing for this or this, I'm doing this, or using this tool, I'm doing this. So I'm very aware when I'm doing my own work or getting worked on, or that I'm not just doing it for me. It's not just coming through me. It's those around me, those I work with, and those that are coming up later. I mean, really, it's for the next generations. And there is that saying, and I don't know, I think it might be a Chinese proverb. I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. Email me, put it in the chat, leave it in a comment on Instagram or something. But the idea that you plant a seed for that tree even though you don't see it. The huge whatever, redwood or oak tree or whatever it is, that takes years to shade, a property or a community or whatever. We're not going to see that, at least in this incarnation, in this lifetime. We'll see it and feel it, interdimensionally, obviously. And if you choose to come back, if you're meant to come back, you'll experience it in a different form. But we really have to get that idea. And I know in one of the native traditions or indigenous traditions, it said that, it might be Cherokee, I'm not sure, but 7 generations, they think ahead. And also, by the way, the Kabul, the elites, trilateral, they think 7 generations ahead too. So there is something very metaphysical of 7 generations. It's very powerful that what we're doing is seeding for 7 generations. So if you think about what your decisions, and I try to a lot, I'm not always great at it, but I do try to think of what I'm doing, what I'm consuming, what I'm buying. Do I really need that or another one of this? Because one more thing in the landfill. Do I need all this stuff or clutter or junk, because it's junking up the ethers. Do I need to buy this or that? Sometimes I do, and then I hold on to it longer, So thinking 7 generations is very helpful, thinking that you're not just doing this sometimes very difficult, challenging work or inner work or things that you're going through. As we're changing these patterns, we're changing and releasing condition response patterns. We're getting rid of conditioning. And yes, we can feel the good parts of that it feels better and our life is freer and more life-enhancing, but the real payoff will be when those patterns are gone, and they only become gone because we've worked on them to get them out. So another thing in the understanding in the work that I'm doing now with Grace in these healing light, we're working with light, sound, tone, and vibration, and then I'm also working energetically, is that the DNA. We are now starting to get into the subtle energy DNA. So we're getting into other strands beyond the 12, okay? So it's very interesting because that's where the activation points are, and that's a big word I've been using, activating. I'm activating. There's an activation that's taking place to extend us more into the subtle energy, to be living more through the subtle energy. So we're becoming less dense and less condensed, and that's activating not only higher dimensions through the etheric and astral, but also the abilities, if you want to call it gifts and abilities that come with that kind of activation, and using other parts of the brain that we don't normally use. Okay. Oh, bird tribe, Sue. I'm part of the bird tribe. Oh, my God. Oh, Sue. Yes, called the bird tribe. I love, no wonder, Sue was so connected. And I think there is a book I read years ago on the bird tribe, but Paulo is also part of the bird tribe, by the way. So, wow, see? We are all meeting up again. Here we go. Yeah, and the ley lines. I worked in England. In fact, was interviewed on a few radio programs for clearing ley lines. Yeah, wink, wink, wink. That's a coincidency, synchronicity. Wink, wink. All right, 347-539-5122. Let's get to callers. Here we go with the first one. Hello, you're on air.
Hi, this is Leslie calling from Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Hi, Leslie. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm working from home today since classes are canceled down here at the small college here in Holly Springs.
Oh, okay. Why they were canceled?
Yeah, inclement weather.
Ah, okay. Got it. So did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I have a question. I've been very happy at my present job here. I've been here for almost a year, 9.5 months. I'm going to be getting a vehicle here in the next 6 weeks, and I have a pretty good feeling that I'm going to get a vehicle that's going to be a good fit for me, and I know I'm respected by my peers and supervisors and students, that I'm probably going to get another 1-year contract this summer. And my biggest concern is I'm looking for a significant other, a nice female in my age group. So I do want to go outside my race since I am African American. Do you see that happening this year, me getting into a relationship?
Okay, let's look for Leslie. Let's see, Leslie. Well, I do see you activating more, getting out and about more, and doing more socializing. especially maybe March, but more like April, May, and in through the summer months. So groups are good. Oh yeah, looks good. You're getting out. That's good. You are, whatever you're doing. Let's see. This does seem to bring in some. I want to see if there's one main significant other. I definitely feel there's going to be some friends, female friends, or people that you're dating or going out with are quite friendly. Yeah, so let's see. Looks like more like around April, someone coming in. I feel like it's at some kind of function, so it could even be a dance or a party. There's definitely music. I see like those conference tables or long tables with coverings on them, so it could be even outdoors. Or indoor, outdoor, because I'm seeing also a little, it may even be at your school. It could be some function there that you guys are putting on, that you happen to be a part of. So what I'm hearing for you is make sure you're following through on invitations and even things like volunteering or, because I see like there's like a list of people that are doing something. And I do feel you meeting someone to start dating. That's what I'm getting right now. So anything like that comes up, I would definitely venture in that way because that's where I see you meeting someone. Okay?
Mhm. Yeah.
Keep us posted.
I've been. Yeah, because I'm so happy right now at my job that I know I'm going to get another 1-year contract. It's from year to year, and I feel that I'm a great fit for them, and they're a great fit for me because I'm well respected.
Mhm. So just get out there, like just get out there, and it sounds like you're ready, and that's always a good sign. I just today in my meditation, I did a walking meditation. I did a couple videos for the Soul Path Seekers and Soul Path Journeyers on my Patreon, and I was talking about activation. It's a time of activating. So that really is taking activation. And astrologically, there's a lot of, signs that have, there are planets that have moved forward, and key signs. So, yeah, just move forward on it. Keep us posted, Leslie. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Michelle. You're welcome. Hi, you're on air.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call, Michelle. How are you doing?
I am absolutely doing great. It's a great day.
Great.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
You're so welcome. Now, I'm not sure. May I ask for a general, or do I need to be more specific?
Do a question, because these are mini reads, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it opens, like I say, it opens the channel. The question opens the channel. Okay,
well, I would like to know, when do you see me getting another contract? I do contract in the health profession. I've been working in the health profession for almost 20 years, so I haven't had a contract in about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3, and I just want to see, do you see me getting something soon?
Okay, and give me your name again.
Patricia,
okay. I don't think you did give it to me. Okay, so let me see. Okay, is this one ending?
It ended about...
Oh, it ended, okay.
2.5, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, yes.
Okay, because it shows an ending with a contract, and then there's a bit of a space, and then you get another one. So I feel like you're not going to get one right away. Let's see, when is... Oh, yeah, you're definitely getting one, though. It's saying not to worry. Take all, you're probably going to be contacting some people or putting your name in again or emailing. I do feel like you're going to be on some kind of list. It almost feels like there's a it's almost like roulette or something, but not by chance. There is a list. There could be someone in front of you, is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
But she does show you getting one. So you may email or say, hey, I'm willing, or I'm ready, or this one ended, I'm ready for another. There's some kind of communication back and forth. And then there's a little bit of a stall. I can hear someone saying, well, we don't have something, whether they write it or whatever. I'm hearing. And then it's coming. So when it comes in kind of quickly is what I'm hearing. Let's see. After the break. Oh, this year. When is the next one? Might be March, but it might be more like April. It's not real soon. There's a space in between.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Have you been talking? Have you been reaching out?
Yes, I actually talked to someone this morning from the last contract. It's the same people agency, and
okay.
They told me that they are talking to some facilities. They haven't quite, I guess, finalized, and got the okay, but they got new places that are closer.
Okay.
They do have a couple of contracts, but they're like 2 hours out, and that's sort of too far. It's not worth it, the money for to go so far out, because I could get that type of money.
Well, I can definitely say you're
here.
getting something, and you're just confirming what I'm hearing psychically, because I'm hearing talking. I'm hearing people, and talking to you and talking to other people. So I do feel like they filled one already, probably right before yours completed, right? And so I would say the next one that they get, the next one that's coming in, you'll get. I'm not getting a lot on time. The bigger timing I'm getting is April. There could be something also in March. I don't know, but it could be some things that are further away. Because, like I said, it shows some kind of offer. So it may be that you're in talks and on the fence, and then the other one comes in. But it definitely shows you getting something. There's no doubt about it. That is for sure.
And real quick, please, Michele, I understand if you can't. I haven't been in a relationship for about 4 years, and I just want to know, do you see that beautiful lifetime partner? So I'm ready.
Soulmate. You're ready.
Yes.
Everyone's ready. I'm going to say this year, I started seeing the coming together last year, but I'm going to say I do feel a lot of people getting partnered this year, especially those that are listening right now, between now and the next, I would say, couple of years. It feels like there's a mass exodus of people leaving, moving, big changes, and one of those is partners, I want to make sure I get to other people, but let's see. Right now you're a little dating or meeting someone. Yeah, I'm going to say with you, so there must be, when I look at stuff like this, I see that things are, they happen, because we all have to have some resonance to be connecting together.
Yes.
So there definitely is the energy of activation and getting out and about. And so what I would say is find everyone that's listening, I mean, including you, Patricia, but this is a great question to bring in. Is we need, whether it's partnership, romantic, love, whatever, activate. Just be out. Go out. Be out and about. Go out of your circle. Socialize. Say hi to people.
Yes.
There is this energy of connecting right now, so if you're putting your energy out there in the world, it will most likely be picked up through this activation cycle that we're in. So that will bring the right people, the right situations, colleagues, collaborations. So for you, whatever that means, you have to get out. It's almost like a reaching out, and then your light gets stronger and the universe can see it, and then the pairing comes in. So that's what I would say for you. Is you got to get out of your routine a bit, is what I'm hearing individually for you. You've got to get out of your routine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michele. Blessings.
Yeah.
I love you. And I look forward to hearing and speaking with you again. Thank you so much.
Yes, me too. Thank you, Patricia. Lots of love. Bye.
Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Oh, Michelle, it's Sunray. It's so great to hear from you. I'm going to dive in right now. First off, I wanted to let you know I love watching you on YouTube and watching you grow. I'm super excited for your YouTube podcast live sessions. That's going to be, oh my gosh, I'm just counting down the days until you go live with that.
Thank you. Me too. And I love that. I love people seeing me grow. I mean, it's just, individually, mentally, emotionally. So thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you grow, I grow, we all grow.
Yes.
But I also wanted to update you on some advice you'd given me at the beginning of this month. You had mentioned just kind of like dropping into the 9th and 8th dimension, so like in that soul star chakra, about like 3 feet above the head, listening to some of your meditations to kind of find balance. And it's been, wow, that's like a prescription right there.
Wow,
but since then, I have some new things that have popped up in my life since utilizing this new tool. And I'm just curious to know if you have any guidance now from this. So because I've been dropping into these dimensions, I'm also seeing clearly the distinctions in my life, that 3D and 5D level. And it's hard to live in those densities. The densities are like really harder to live in them, so I'm like removing myself away from them faster. With this though, and with my friend group, my tribe that I've been with, we've been noticing, because we've also been practicing this, we've been noticing these lights that just will appear. We'll be like talking, and then we'll see like this, what looks like a neon street go in front of us. We're not on like any psychedelics. We're not on any alcohol or any cannabis. And we're just like, and we'll have to have a conversation, and all of a sudden me and my friend will just look over and be like, did y'all see that? And it's like, yeah. Or like, and we're just like, okay, so we're not going crazy. And then me personally, when I'm meditating and then I open up my eyes, I see this geometrical pattern form in front of me in midair. And it startled me because I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know who to talk to about this. Don't know who to reach out to, because most people might be like, okay, we're not going to talk. Or they just don't understand it. Or I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do from this. But this has been increasing over the past month. Last year was kind of a thing, but now it's more frequently, almost like on a daily basis. And I don't know if is this my guides coming to me in physical form, or what are you picking up on this?
Usually you could be seeing parts of yourself, the other dimensional, or through the subtle energy. But also what you're starting to see is the matrix of the world and of the universe. It is light. It is slower and faster moving light. You might have heard my stories that I've shared when I've been channeling and so extended out that literally things that were supposed to be concrete, like even being in a bus holding on to the railings, it starts to dematerialize.
Yes.
Or shoes at Neiman Marcus starts having colors and different patterns. So this is exciting, and this is one of the things that I try to share, like when people say, well, when we cross over, we go to this school, we're sitting down, and I'm like, who's sitting down? You don't have a body. You're just this matrix. And on a soul level, which is kind of hard to digest in a way, we are just this energetic vibrational matrix. We really are these fractals that somehow are encoded with certain tones, sounds, frequencies, and energies that as it gets stepped down or denser, as it descends, takes a different shape and form, like thoughts, feelings, and some type of density, a formation. So when you start tapping it, yes, see, so it's very interesting because people talk about, learning lessons or this lifetime, I'm learning that my soul came to do this. It's almost like music that is pre-played and pre-recorded in a way and then plays out. It's all notes. And then we assign the song. We assign the words to the song.
Right. Those are the thoughts
in the
that
human
you're saying that form in a more like a... go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense, like, when we're the sound, the music lives in the etheric, and the channeler person creating the song, whether it's a musician, formulates those thoughts and moves those patterns together, and it becomes a song. So that's kind of like what you're saying, the higher dimension coming down, descending into physical form, or like the thought of creating a house, of making a chair. The chair is a chair, but it is a chair because of the thought that that was formed in a person's mind from the Akashic into something that can be touched in the physical form.
Yes.
But really manifested from a non-physical form.
Yes, and still holds is still moving. This is where group agreement comes in, and this is why we're so powerful as manifestors. As we individually get out of a certain group think, that changes. That's the only really way to change things. There has to be enough resonance on the etheric and astral for it to manifest. So that's why things change. There's that German word, the zeitgeist, or Rupert Sheldrake talks about the morphogenic field. Once things is enough in the unified field of consciousness, it becomes a thing, and we can see this even with words, how the meaning can change. So if enough people thought that a chair was something else, and it gained enough resonance, enough traction energetically, it would be we would all call it and see it and experience it as something else. So this is why it's so powerful to understand as we start feeling and seeing things differently and calling it a different name, and it gains that traction because it's the most life enhancing. Then that becomes the thing. That becomes the way. That becomes the group agreement. On a mainstream consciousness level. Yeah. So it sounds like you're tapping into that. Now the first, yes. That's why the whole idea is getting out of the system, though some people need to fight the system and picket and whatever it is, protest and all that. All that serves a purpose, but it would do nothing if there weren't individuals that become groups of people that start seeing a different vision, having a different intention. Kind of like Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream." So enough people that see that. That's what they don't want us to know.
The seventh generation.
Yeah,
you really got to think ahead because, of course.
Yes, and that's what a certain group doesn't want people to know, because that is extremely powerful. You can change the whole trajectory if you have enough juice. Enough juju as an individual, you can change a whole trajectory. Oh yeah, and we have examples of that, right? But imagine us doing that consciously and coming together and knowing this. You see, that changes the whole game on the planet. Yeah, that changes. So you're tapping also into this part of you, the undifferentiated, is what we call it metaphysically. The part of you that isn't differentiated or put into a form. You're tapping into that part of you, which is also part of the unified field of consciousness.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Wow, that's some useful information.
Yes. Thank you, Sunray. Thank you for that wonderful activation.
Yeah.
Oh, Sue is saying in the chat, sounds wonderful. Yeah, it does, Sue, right?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Michele. I'm going to let you go.
Okay, big hug.
I can't wait to connect with you soon. Big hug.
Yes, me too. Big hug. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, you're on air.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Hi, you're welcome. What's your first name?
Catherine?
Catherine. Hi, Catherine. What's your question?
Hi. Yes, thank you. I'm looking for a change. I was wondering if you see a move this year, possibly. I was thinking of either California or Italy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, that's
and I'm
a
in
nice...
New York currently. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, either of those is good. So I definitely do see a move, whether this year or next. It does show a move around you, change in lifestyle and maybe even career. If you're not working, I feel you are going to be working. There is something that you're going to be doing. Catherine. Yeah, you're definitely moving. You're just in the kind of the planning phase of it. I think more is going in July. More is going to move. There's going to be more movement, maybe around even Leo time. I would say you're definitely talking to someone. So I don't know if you're going to visit one of the places or something, but it does show that there's more movement or traction on this goal. Is what I'm hearing.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
So there definitely is a move, but you're just in the very, very, maybe just the thinking phase. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure yet which place. I wanted to ask some friends in California if they might help me get a job.
You're definitely going to get it.
Yeah.
So you're definitely doing that. So just... Let's see here, Monkey. What do you have to say? Yes, she's moving. Yeah, so you're just in the phase. So you're definitely doing it. You're doing it the right way. Check things out. Have people help you. I definitely see you getting a job. It may be more California first, because I definitely see that you're going to be getting a job. So the job seems to be important.
Yes. Oh, excellent. I'm excited.
All right, sweet. Yes.
Yes.
Enjoy and keep us posted. Bye.
I will. Thank you. Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, waiting to see. Let's see. Hi, you're on air.
Hey, Michelle. This is Bree.
Hey, Bree. Welcome.
Hey. I also just wanted to give a shout-out to Sunray. Thanks, Sunray, for asking that question. We all hung out last night, and we're just seeing all the energy popping off.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh, my
God.
God. So you were...
Huge clarification for us.
Oh, very cool. Oh, thank you for calling in with it. Yeah, I got goosebumps all over. And it does we are getting less and less dense. That's why it's harder to do certain things. So that's definitely a part of it. Then we seem to get like an adjustment and alignment where we kind of find a new center and then can do some denser things, get some mundane or 3D things done. But yeah, that's definitely it's a process, right?
We've been feeling, it's a whole new world. It's feeling like.
Yes, it is.
My husband and I are actually really feeling this push to, really break through and get out of that 3D matrix. We are looking to start our own business. Possibly we're looking into making these mantra mirrors that have to do with like crystals and pairing mantras with the mirrors. And we're also looking to start a podcast. And so I'm trying to find some insight on that, if you can see it through at all with that.
Okay, let's look and see. And one thing to remember, though, also is that you're bringing the 3D will still of density will still be here.
Oh, right. It's not really going away. It's just we're moving into another density to work with.
Yeah. Well, we're bringing it down here, kind of heaven on earth, if you will, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of the heaven on earth. Okay, so let's see. Now, what do you want to know about the which one should we look at first?
How about the podcast? What do you see around that?
Okay, let's see. I definitely feel it now. I don't know if you stick with it or not. I feel like guys could become a little nomadic, or you are. There seems to be a lot of transition coming in for you. So you may be doing, or you're doing it in a different way. Maybe it's a different timing or consistency on it. I do see a lot with you with, which is interesting, with some form of art. That makes sense.
Oh.
Or artist expression. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm actually looking into color therapy, too, so that might have a connection to that.
Okay. So that may be more of what you're, because there's something brewing. There's some new art focus that has to, which tells me that that's kind of what you're saying already, right?
Oh wow, yeah. I mean,
so that if you follow that, that's going to open the doors.
The artistic
whatever
flow.
It is the artistic flow, whatever that is, that's going to.
Oh yeah, because whenever you're in that artistic flow, you are bringing down that higher consciousness and working with your higher self. Yes.
So for you, it's also going to put you into the energy of what's unfolding for you, okay, that vibration and energy, and then you're going to know what areas you want to express this. Because podcast is it's just expressing a certain part of what somebody does, right, a certain interest or focus. Right. You could say it's a tool or a vehicle for expression. So once you get what you're doing, what you're into, you're going to go, I want to do this or do it this way and share this way and have this. Then you're going to know the medium to use, what type of medium to use and what specific medium or mediums to use within your dissemination. Because that's really what, when we talk about podcasts or radio or anything or posting, and so social media, it's a medium of expression in a way of disseminating some information or insights or what just someone enjoys doing or interest, what you want to get out there. So that seems to unlock the door for you.
Ooh, okay. Wow.
All right, Bree. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And I love your YouTube, by the way. Oh, my gosh. We watched your pick a card, and it was just so spot on.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Bree.
Thank you so much for your insight.
You're welcome. Big hug. Talk to you.
Okay. Big hug. Bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm waiting to see our guest. I've got a 209 number for you guests, so I don't see. Let's see. I hope I have the right number. Let me see here. Yeah, 206-214, but I'm not seeing that number. So if you have a different number, please let me know in the chat. That's the number I'm waiting to see. Okay, let's try this one here. Da, 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 da. Hi, you're on air.
Ciao, Michelle. It's Zoe.
Hey, Zoe. Howdy.
So good to hear everybody and everything tonight.
Right?
What awesome things. So I'm actually calling in because I've had some interesting things that have been happening over the past month, and not just myself, but other people I work with and stuff like this. And I've just noticed like a bunch of crazy things happening, like things kind of like, trees falling down and water coming in, and a lot of myself and other people kind of doing purging and other things like this. And I'm just curious because I realize that this isn't a just solely happening to me thing. It's kind of like a collectively happening thing because I have different people from all over the world experiencing similar situations. So I'm just curious what your vibe, what your view, what your opinion is, because at first I was like, whoa, I didn't know if it was like a collective energy. I was like, does this mean I shouldn't be here? Do I need to be moving? Like, am I doing something wrong? You know, like, which is weird to have as a first thought, but like after like the third or fourth thing happened, it was like definitely like, am I missing a signal? You know, so I'm just curious about if you've heard anybody else. Yeah, it's just like a lot. Like I feel like a lot of the energy is definitely like old things creating space or to build new things stronger. I mean, that's like my general vibe.
Well,
but,
yeah,
I've had a lot of clients and people calling me, telling me, you know, they're feeling sick, they're purging, they're having, you know, it's like weird. So I'm not sure what the vibe is. Is this like an upgrade, you know, or is this like what's your...
No, it's all of it. I've been talking about in the Pick a Card and also in the Patreon. I've been diving deeper into this, so you're definitely tapping into this. Yeah, well, right now we're in a transition. There's a lot of completion and ending and moving on, and so that's happening in situations, individually, collectively, within individual relationships and circumstances, but it's just happening also in I love the word zeitgeist, in the energetic flow, the morphogenic field, the unified field of consciousness. You're seeing this, the energy wrapping up to activate in new areas. So there can be closings, ending, a lot of stuff coming up emotionally for people to just purge, to release, to look at again. And purging and releasing can just sometimes be acknowledging it and processing and being with it. It's all about letting things come up more from the body. This is really about getting into the body or embodiment of the higher vibrational frequencies. So, yeah, there is a lot of that is taking place. And because what's starting to happen, and I've been seeing a lot with my clients and people I'm working with in various groups, they are experiencing this as well. So I'm sure other people are, you know, also
that's why I'm like, after
detaching.
Like the 5th or 6th day, I was like,
there's
something.
Yeah, well, there's a detaching of the past, the emotional charge on the past and being stuck or connected on the past. So you're going to see a lot more less sentimentality. Now, we could also say, because astrologically we're going into a time, we're going out of an emphasis of earth and water into air, fire and air. And air signs are, they're not always so warm and fuzzy, depending on what other, planets they have and what signs. So we're going more in that mental realm. So there is less sentimentality, there's less attachment, there's bonding, but there's less maybe romanticism of the past, right? Less. Yeah, well, there'll be more compassion. No, Aquarius, because Aquarius is a air sign. Aquarians have a lot of compassion, but there's a reason why they are able to be in big groups or kind of do the tough jobs, kind of like Scorpio, like surgeries. I mean, they're good with just getting in there in an emergency. So, so there is this kind of what we have pictured,
it's like
the Earth
a type
plane.
of disconnect, right? Like the ability to just
that's the low vibration of it. That's the lower harmonic, the lower vibration of it. It's really the romanticism or sentimentality, the attachment. It's a bonding and appreciation for the past or love, but it's really to free people up, because we have a lot of attachment to, I should do this because I'm this color, I'm this race, I'm this religion, or this my family, or it's my family, so I should tolerate this bad behavior. You know how people are. So this idea of sticking with things just to stick with things, Aquarius doesn't do that. So that is one of the things that we're learning next. How do we have the love, the compassion, but just cut the cord and move on? Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of what you're seeing and experiencing also.
So that's a lot of what I'm feeling, because I'm like, am I going to be moving soon? Like, what is because I'm feeling a lot of I don't know like the word for it, but yeah, like discombobulated, like kind of like you know, like when the wave gets big, you know, and you're out in the wave and you kind of get tossed around because you can't swim through it correctly. Like that's a little bit what I feel like. I'm like, what's going on? You know, I feel like I'm being.
Well, that's also these energies. It's very other dimensional. It's very extended or expanded into the subtle energy. So I would just say do what's in front of you and kind of, you know, wait it out, and see where you're guided, you know. All right, sweetie, I've got to go. I got to find out where our guest is. If our guest isn't here, we'll just keep doing readings. But I'm not seeing the number that I have.
Lovely to talk to you. As
you
always,
too. Miss
thank
you. Yeah.
Miss
lots
you
of love to you. Big hug. Bye.
Big hug and love. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Hi, you're on air. Hello. Come back. Hi, you're on air. Hello.
Hi. Hello. My name is Maria. Hello.
Hi, Maria.
Excuse me. I called from New York, you know me. I want to ask you something, please. I'm going to move in. I'm going to go in Italy this year. And my daughter was married some part over there. You think they're going to see him again this year, the same guy? Or
yes.
Let's
see. I see our guests in the chat. Okay. Yes, I do. Probably, maybe more. I don't know if it's maybe summer or a little bit after, like fall.
She gonna marry the same guy?
Yes.
Or find somebody new?
Yes.
They're gonna find the fiancé over there? In Italy,
you'll find a place over there. You'll find a place.
I find the place I know for my daughter talking about it. It was married somebody last year in Italy. They're going to see him again. They're going to find somebody new. It's going to be a fiancé over there.
A sale and a move, I feel. There'll be a sale and then a move.
They're going to move. You know, see nothing
then
else in my daughter. You know, see nothing else in my daughter find the same guy they married last year.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I'm not getting a clear read on that. And now, sorry, Maria, I'm a little distracted because I had the wrong number for our guest. I had the wrong area code in her write-up. So I definitely from her. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry about you. Thank you.
Yes. Talk to you later. Call back again. Much peace. Call back again.
Right.
All right, we're on now with Heather Allison, the Divine Feminine Guide and an Activator. Hey, Heather. Hi.
Hi. Sorry about that.
I had the different area code, so I was looking. I'm glad I put that to put in the chat. I was like, I had a different area code, so sorry about that. I don't know why.
No, oh my gosh, it's okay. I actually loved that I had a chance to listen a little bit because I loved what you said. It's such a big conversation people tend to have about the whole 3D, 5D, all the other Ds, and it warmed my heart so much to hear what you said, which is that, like, it's still going to be here. We're not trying to get away from it, basically. It's just about bringing heaven to earth, because that's literally what my work is all about. So I was like, yay, I'm in the right place.
Well, perfect. Well, okay, two perfect confirmations and synchronicities from you, because when I was reading your info, and I might have written down the number. I don't know where I got the 209, but I was feverishly waiting. So I'm glad you went in the chat. I've been tapping into the whole idea of activation, that we're now in a phase of being these activators and connect to activate. We're meant to be activating. And I just did a whole little video for my Patreon about activation. And what do I see in your info? Activator.
Perfect.
So if you would,
so good.
Yes. So I mean, share what you will, about your own first awakening and awakening to what you're doing. But I also would love to get your take on just what you said, heaven on earth, give people a little more context, because I didn't go into it a lot, about the 3D, 5D, and all these Ds that people think they're disappearing. We all wish you're just going to a place that's very cushy. And then also about this activation and how you are an activator. So I know that I'm giving you a lot, but I really want to get your take on all that.
Yeah, where do you want me to start? What would feel good to start with?
Let's just tap in a little bit about your first awakening. I always like to do that, and then awakening to what you're doing now. And then we can go into, even Divine Feminine Guide, and as an activator, what does that mean? What does it mean to activate? And then a little bit on the 3D, 5D, etc., all the Ds levels.
Yeah.
So we could start like that way.
All the Ds. Sure.
All the Ds,
so my spiritual awakening happened quite late. Well, at least it seemed, in my view, to happen kind of late. I was 40 when it really kind of suddenly and profoundly cracked me open. I had just kind of been doing the usual thing, like trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with my life and trying to find the right relationship and all of the other things. And a series of events kind of transpired where, a few things happened where I just kind of started following the subtle callings, the little things, like kind of honoring the little nudges that we have that we tend to go like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense, or maybe someday, or whatever. And I started actually taking steps for them when I was feeling them, even if they didn't seem like they made much sense. And through a series of those experiences, I ended up signing up for a coach training program just because I had found this woman's work. I was desperately Googling some stuff about like finding the right relationship, or how do I know it's the right one, or what am I doing wrong, because I'd been married in a really, really toxic and damaging marriage, and then had 2 other relationships that also didn't work. And I was like, what am I getting wrong here? What is going on? What am I missing? And I found this work that really spoke to, something mythic, something deeper in me that was very deeper in my psyche, deeper in my consciousness, that it just vibrated something for me. And it happened to be related to kind of the feminine and masculine energetics of relationships. And I started playing in that realm and exploring her work. And I was like, I just want all of the information. How do I get all of this information? It turned out she offered a coach training. I was like, well, that sounds like I'd get all the information there. So I signed up. And it was such a whim. I've never spent, I think it was $5,000 at the time. And I don't think I'd ever spent that much money on anything all at once without thinking about it more than 10 minutes. I was just done doing it. And training was set to start about 6 months later. And I got laid off from my job the day before it started. And I was like, oh, okay, so we'll just do this then. And I was like, all right, I see you, universe. I hear you. I had fancied myself a mystic or at least thought that I might be one, but I didn't really know how to turn it on. I didn't really know how to access it. I kind of always wished somebody would see it in me and just be confirm it, that tell me that I'm psychic, or tell me that I'm intuitive, and then show me how to remember. Right. And that actually did end up happening, but not in the way that I thought. So training was about 6 months long, and a few months after that, I had a dream where I was in an ancient Egyptian temple, and a man appeared to me and offered to be my teacher. And I said yes in the dream. And he I'm writing my book right now, and I'm writing the whole experience down. And it's just I still feel it every time I tell this story, but he just beamed. He just was so elated that I said yes. And there was even this moment in the dream where there's almost this password. This is what it felt like to me, where he asked me a question and I answered. And it seems like I was I said the right thing, and he was like, yes. And so then he invited me deeper into this temple, showed me sacred books, and, introduced me to other people who would be my guides and teachers and things like that. And I woke up just thinking it was a cool dream until probably a month or so later, I started experiencing things in my waking life that were from the dream. And to such a degree and such a frequency that I was like, what is happening right now? And I kind of couldn't ignore it. I couldn't pretend that it wasn't so coincidental and so synchronistic, and like all the things that I was like, it was just bananas. And it kept happening so much and in such an intense degree that I was like, all right, listen. And I sat down and I was so afraid of what I was going to be connecting to. Like, I didn't want it to be anything dark or scary or, not good, right? And so I was like, listen, I will listen to this particular playlist or this particular album of music and meditate. And when I do that, I will let you talk to me and I will let you show me things, but that's it. Like, can't bring anything here. Like, my body is mine, my energy space and my field is mine. Like, I was so terrified. But he did. And he started showing me things and telling me things that, like, had my jaw on the floor and things that I could never have imagined. And it's just over the course of continuing to drop in with him, I call him my cosmic teacher. We created more and more trust, obviously. And through that, there's been, other guides that have appeared and deepening in with my soul and her voice and all of these other things that I do now and that I experience now, and that has really has become the work that I teach, because all of the things that he's been teaching me go into the work that I teach.
That does. So you got guided. One thing I want to go back to, and I'm not forgetting about the activator and 3D, 5D, etc., is what you said about the little things. I think that's so important that you were doing the small things, the little things, which another synchronicity. In the video I talked about this. I love it. I love the.
Oh my God, perfect.
How, right? I was saying if you do the little things, it's easier when you're manifesting the quote unquote bigger things, or what we perceive to be bigger for us. Can you talk a little bit about that, how that looked for you, and maybe for people what to look out for, I guess, in their own life in regards to this?
Yeah, and it's such a big deal. This is one of the, so as part of the work that I do, I guide mystery schools for women. I am starting to work with men as well. It takes on a little bit of a different flavor and, kind of help translate some of the work that I do with women into being for those who identify as men. But this is one of my favorite things to see is when women come to this work simply because they had a feeling, because they're like, I don't know, I barely understand what you're talking about. I don't really understand what this calling is or what this feeling is. I just feel like there's something here, and I'm letting myself follow the nudge and follow the whisper, because that is literally them beginning to listen to the mystery. That's them beginning to let themselves enter the mystery. We're such forgetting beings here in this density. I heard you talking about that too, that we operate in such linearity of like, this needs to make sense. What's the plan? How do I move so that I have maintain control over everything? Like, is this the right decision, right versus wrong decision? All of these things that keep us in this very limited and linear experience. And the more we can let ourselves listen to the small, subtle voices inside, the subtle whispers, the things that are coming from not our brains, but from places inside of us or winks that we see around us and what have you, the more we can let ourselves listen to those things and take some kind of action for them. You don't have to, I always tell my clients this, you don't have to go leap off a cliff, right? But like, can you start taking steps? Can you start what I call honoring the callings, those little subtle voices of the mystery, of your intuition, of your soul, and begin to like create more space for that to enter, for the miracle realms to enter, for our soul to enter, and to guide us more powerfully. The way I did that was so like I did some work with a really dear friend of mine, Elisa Romeo. She wrote a book called Meet Your Soul. I actually went to high school with her. So we've been friends for a really long time. And I was doing work with her to like meet my soul. And I had quote unquote met my soul through her work, but I kind of felt like I was always making it up. Because I was like, well, I'm not psychic like she is. I'm not that kind of, like, I'm like, I had some, like, oracle cards, and I liked crystals, but I'm like, I'm not that kind of, I wish I were that psychic, but I'm not that psychic. And even just opening the door like that and going, like, I'm gonna go with this because this is kind of it feels right, it feels true, it feels like it might be, I kind of feel like I'm making it up, but I'm going to allow it to, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and just go with it and see where it wants to guide me. Even that is like opening the door enough to kind of allow in the mystery and allow in the miracle realms, if you will. So one of the ways that I did that, like I said, was I feel something in this work, in this, it was very kind of it was very like kind of how to get that guy, masculine and feminine energetics. But I was like, I feel something in this. Something is like, I recognize something in this, and I'm going to let myself play in it a little. And when that started feeling like it was opening things for me, or started feeling more aligned, or started feeling like I was more curious about it, I let myself open that door a little bit more, and then I invested in the coach training. And it's the series of those little things that like the small step begets the next bigger step, and then that begets the next bigger step. And the more you can just kind of allow yourself to open the door a little bit more and follow things that don't really make sense, that's when the mystery gets to come in more and more and more. That's kind of a lot of the work that I do with my clients too, is really help prune away all of this like patriarchal and wounded energetic conditioning that we have to disbelieve until we have proof. Because we will never get out of, speaking of like the 3D, 5D conversation, we'll never get out of this kind of like very dry, very linear, very just like machine-based experience if we're not willing to step beyond it. And stepping beyond it means we have to move before we have proof of things.
Yeah. Something as you were sharing this, your take on this, it really just hit me and made sense. We want the subtle, but then we don't listen to the subtle. And so we're not going to connect into that aspect of ourself and life unless we practice by listening and feeling the subtle promptings. So it's interesting because a lot of people say they want to get out of 3D, they want 5D, but they're not. That's the listening to the subtle promptings, the subtle messages, the small signs, and not discounting them. And then that's right where the traction, I find, gains. Then you start gaining traction.
Yeah.
And things happen more and more and more and more and more, and it's it's just easier. It's easier to
like if we're gonna
roll.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just agreeing with you. Like that's a really good and helpful way to think about dimensions. It's not a different place. It's a layer of subtlety. It's like 3D is most obvious, right? In its density, that's the stuff that we can knock on and touch, and like it's already here. And like as we kind of get into higher dimensions, they are subtle realms. They're the subtlety realms. They are more and more invisible, if you will. And I mean invisible by both what we can't see because it's like energetic around us, but it's also the stuff inside of us, right? It's emotions. We can't see those. It's our resonance, right? What feels true for us, what feels like truth, and what feels aligned for us, our intuition, our channel, that still quiet voice of our soul that requires a certain amount of stillness and listening in order to hear it, because she's typically not going to. Granted, sometimes she can take the cosmic 2x4 to us and be like, you're not listening, so I'm going to, make you sick, or I'm going to like have you, twist an ankle so you slow down and listen to me or whatever. But most of the time she's speaking to us with this like subtle, still voice. So you can think about like if you want to exit this denser space, you have to be willing to touch into and listen into the higher and more subtle realms, and be willing to move with them. So yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to share around that too is like Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, please. No, go ahead, please.
It's the same as I talk about this a lot too. I loved what you said. Like we want the subtle, but we don't listen to it. It's the same way that I talk about the feminine, where really everything that we crave as humans comes from the feminine energetics, comes from her energy field, if that makes sense, where it's connection and love and clear connection, like clear understanding and feeling and knowing of our intuition. It's intimacy, it's wholeness, it's like it's just all, it's feeling on purpose and aligned. It's all of these things that are felt and experienced in ways that we can't kind of plot on a spreadsheet, you know? And so these are the things that we crave the most as humans, and yet we've been so conditioned and so trained to fear her, to reject her, to devalue her and only value the things that are of the feminine, which is like linear and logical, and of the masculine, that is linear and logical and makes sense and is like a straight line more than it is this thing that we can never, that is ineffable, and the things that we can never define, if that makes sense. So I love that you're talking about this. It feels very, very related.
Yeah, and so important we have, because we don't have a lot of reflections of the subtlety, the mainstream consciousness and world. The reinforcement and conditioning is very, very dense, and there's a lot of fear in what is subtle, or the pause, the quietness, that, which I find very interesting too, Heather, because that is also our power, our empowerment. I mean, once we get more comfortable with that aspect of our being, there's a tremendous amount of power and empowerment that we open up to. I call it like a quiet power, It's the ability to direct. And, you said something, because you said, she, the divine feminine. Research has shown, and I kind of knew that, many of us have known this, and we've talked about this, especially in holistic therapies of different sorts, and the feminine, that the feminine is actually able to multitask. It's very interesting from a male or, let's say, a masculine or patriarchal point of view. There's been this research about how multitasking is so stressful. But the thing is, the feminine, and there's been research how the feminine, women, and especially mothers, multitask all the time, that they can be, and it's because they relax their consciousness. Like, in other words, if you're trying to multitask from a place of, squeezing tight energy, of making something happen, but women, and particularly mothers, and there was research on this, which I found interesting, how the predominant research of don't do that, it's stressful, is out there in the world. But then there's this other research saying how women do this all the time, and citing the examples with mothers is that they could be cooking or doing something, but yet they have their ear or eye for their child. What's the child doing? And if someone comes in, they're able to acknowledge them, and say hello, or pick up the phone and answer the phone while they're doing, the example they used was cooking or whatever. But you can see it also when, I've seen on podcasts, sometimes I'm watching YouTube, and kids will come in, or the dog will come in, and the host is podcasting, and just a minute, and they're just navigating, in a very unstressful way. And that tends to be able to happen when we're more in that feminine energy, or allowing that energy, because there's a recognition of this interconnectedness of everything and everyone anyway. You're living more from that space. It's a mergy kind of space, that feminine space. So my point is that this can also be likened to being in different dimensions or realities, or be able to be okay with those overlays of realities. The only way we're going to be able to do that is being more in the feminine energy, being more magnetic. We can't do it right from the purely the masculine. It just doesn't. It does cause distress.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. This is amazing. I'm taking notes feverishly because I'm like, I want to talk about all of this stuff. But that's exactly it.
We'll have to have you back on again for a longer conversation too, because I'm so, I had two different.
I would love that.
Area codes for you, and the one that I looked at on the calendar was 209, and then I guess in the bio you had it. That's why I'm glad. Now I know to do that, to put in the chat, hey, guest, if you're here.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you can tap into that, what are you getting?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, I just want to clarify for anybody listening too that feminine and masculine doesn't equate to male and female. We all have feminine and masculine within us, and so I wanted to just clarify that too. But yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's the flavor or the tone of quote unquote multitasking, right? Where for me it's kind of like the tone that we want or the flavor that we want of multitasking is like a being with, right? Like it's a being with without over-attachment to one thing or another thing, which is, you know, just as an example, a woman that I did some work with in the past, we would be on a Zoom call and, you know, as my mentor, and she would have a toddler running around in the background, and she would put me on, you know, mute herself and actually listen to what her toddler was saying and then come back to me. And there was a part of me that was like annoyed at first, like, I'm paying for this, like, wow, you're supposed to be paying attention to me. But it's coming back to like the okayness of being in mess and being with a bunch of different things that are going on without feeling like it needs to look a certain way. That was such a great teacher for me, was just knowing that there is not a one right way of, or that you have to be so over-focused and stick with one thing at the same time. And there's medicine in that. But there's like, we don't want the kind of multitasking where it's crazy and dizzy and spinning you out and there's so much either, right? We want it to be a form that's deep presence, right? Where it's like, I can be with this, with deep presence, with both of these things with deep presence. And that's how I felt with her ultimately, if that makes sense. So you're absolutely right, because if we're starting to listen to, and the other thing I was going to say is, in my coach training, I absolutely credit me coming into more of the feminine energy with my spiritual awakening, because she is our vesselhood that allows us to be connected with our soul and connected with our intuition. And it's like being more in our bodies and being more in tune with the subtle realms. And that's what the feminine is all about. So those things are that's not a coincidence. It's exactly what allowed me to come into my spiritual awakening. And you're absolutely right. Like, if we're going to tap into other dimensions, we have to get better and better and better at both having our feet here in this dimension and taking action for our human and for, you know, the human needs that we have here, while we also are listening deeper and listening higher and listening with more subtleties and with more devotion to things that, quote unquote, don't make sense here. And that is absolutely a form of multitasking, and it asks for presence with both, not just one or the other.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it seems to be it's a rebalancing and perhaps a re-understanding or new understanding of that divine feminine and masculine, the masculine feminine within us and within the world, the electrical magnetic, because the feminine is the magnetic, right, and the masculine is the electrical. And those polarities, whatever it looks like on the outside, creation comes with those polarities coming together, you know, kind of nudging up or kissing each other. So it seems like the polarity within us is changing, and maybe to recognize that. And I like what you said about the presence, because I think it is in that flow state. And again, we only can check in with ourselves to see, you know, am I manically doing a bunch, or, you know, and that could be things that you're to do, that could be things in your mind, whatever it is, or is there a flow with this? Is it making sense, or am I making it from the ego perspective? I would say if there's competition, it's very interesting. I've been looking at this lately, and I don't know your take on it, but the whole idea of this, like, one-upmanship and competition, which is very much the warrior energy, and of course you need a little of that, otherwise we wouldn't be, you know, it can be called motivation or inspiration, but we have so much of it. It's so harsh. It's such a harsh energy. It's noisy. I don't know. I can just feel it. I always have as a kid. It's just, I don't know, so antithetical to my vibration. But I feel like if there's a lot of that, it's very hard to get into that divine feminine, or allow the divine feminine to have more expression when we have too much of that other.
Well, it's a form of, so she's very much about the both and, right? Her form of wholeness is both and. It's not an either or. Either or is a limiter, and it's a masculine thing, because masculine is about like discernment to like, right, we need both of them, right? So we actually want our discernment, which is how we identify and clarify what is for us and isn't for us, or what is aligned and isn't aligned, or what, right? So it's not like we only want the feminine, we want both of these, but that's kind of the point is right. She's all about the both and so, yeah, exactly right. Like competition, comparison, those are either or energetics. Those are, there can only be enough for me or enough for someone else or what have you.
We must have similar messages, because in 2011, in some of my channelings, what the guides were saying is to say and both, to not to stop either or. That God always comes from the place of and both. And also the other thing that they gave me was life enhancing. Instead of this is good, this is bad, or this is male or female, because it's both, and or negative and positive, because there's negative and the negative is actually the feminine. That's the negative principle in creation. The void is the feminine. So they said, start using life enhancing or life affirming instead of this is good or this is bad. Or this is negative, and that's positive, but also the and in both. So I started doing that and saying anytime you're making a decision and you have and, you can bring and in both, then you're tapping into that higher vibrational frequency. You're literally tapping into God or the universe or all that is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work. Yeah. The ego works in either or. So, Heather, I love it. That's like 3 things so far. 3 things.
At least there might have been more,
There might have been more,
right? So for me, that's like I love that life affirming. That I tend to use the term like kind of, well, I call it like natural magic, if you will, which is it's really about coming into the form of energetics and the form of magic that's about the thriving for the whole. And again, it's like the both and. It's so and this applies to whether it's self and other or human and higher, like 3D and 5D or above or whatever. It's like because that's co-creation, right? That's the energetics of co-creation. So can we be making choices that are honoring both? Kind of like what I was saying. It's like, can we make choices that honor both the human and the higher? Can we make choices that honor self and other? And can we make choices, again, that's like the both and, that's the quote unquote multitasking, that's wholeness. That is our wholeness. What else did you say that I wanted to talk about? Or I wanted to speak to? I received this work in a little bit of a different way. So most of my work is actually channeled insofar as the model I was given, and it's all just models, right? It's all just stuff handed to us as humans so that we can try to understand it with our linear minds, right? So this is not the only model, I'm sure. But I was given this understanding, this model of the feminine masculine as the feminine is actually, she is the both and the masculine is the separation of both and into either or, if that makes sense. So like, how do I want to put this? So she actually embodies duality in my work, where it's not just that like masculine is the light and feminine is the dark. He's the positive and she's the negative. It's actually that she is the duality, because she embodies both in her truest form. She is wholeness of everything, chaos and void, allness and nothingness, all of it. And he is that line of singularity that runs through the center, if that makes sense, and makes it possible to have light and dark and positive and negative. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a different twist on this, but it's really, really powerful, and it brings in go ahead.
Well, it just kind of goes into form and formlessness in a way, because the formlessness and within the void, I mean, if you take it that step further, because in the void everything is there. The light, the dark, the positive, all is in the void, and the cosmic womb, which is the divine feminine, and then that's the formlessness. But everything is it contains everything, and it's the male aspect that becomes form that separates out from that everything. It becomes more pointed. which is
yeah,
the light.
I received it a little bit differently, but that's not, like, I don't think either of them is wrong. It's just it goes a little bit different. It kind of unfolds a little bit differently over here. I received so I work with what I call the archetypal trinity, which is the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the creator archetype, or the primordial feminine. And it's just a little bit, I have like visuals that I can share about this, and I'm actually creating a little bit of a free micro course to kind of walk through the perspective that I received around this and the model that I received to work with. But I don't believe any of them are wrong. They're just different ways of looking at the same energetics.
Depending on what someone's learning, I mean, again, the understanding of the form or the void has all of it. That I'm just saying that would be the overlap there of what you're saying, that the divine feminine has both, because in the void is the potential. It's always the becoming. So it has everything in it, in that becoming.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, totally.
Anyway, I could go on and on and on, Heather, but we're over time. I don't know, people that are listening via phone, you can hear us chant. You're welcome. Sue says thank you. Also flexibility, but not rigid with discipline. You're welcome, everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here. Let's see, do we have any questions in the chat? No. All right, Heather, how can people find you? What's the best way for people to connect with you? The website?
Yeah, they can find me on my website at heather-allison.com. It's got 2 L's. I'm also on Instagram at I am Heather Allison. You can also follow me on Facebook as well. My personal profile is Heather Bruce Allison, so you can find me in any of those channels. But the nice place to start is my website, because you can pretty much find everything that you need there.
Very cool. Well, I have loved this fun and enlightening conversation. Really have.
Me too. Thank you so much, and all the synchronicities.
I know, right? I love it. I was like, boom, there's another one. All right, till next time. You take good care.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Bye. All right, gang. Thanks for being here, everyone. And also, wow, what a fun conversation with Heather. That was absolutely great. Everyone, thanks for being here and co-creating this. As always, if you didn't get your question answered or the reading you wanted or whatever you wanted to share or ask, here next Wednesday. Also, you can always, in the comments on Instagram, you could ask questions there, or on either the Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube or the Soul Insights and Tarot, either way. Also, if you want to do a deeper dive into metaphysics, spirituality, and spiritualism, as well as esoteric studies, you can connect with me in our Patreon. Also, I think there's links in the description box. Ooh, I feel so good from this conversation, and I know you do too as well. Let me know how you liked it, and if you learned anything, and if you applied anything that we were talking about today. All right, lovely soul lights, as always, continue to shine your light, share your insights, and, of course, keep awake.
Awakenings broadcast every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.